after Parkinson.
Thank you. On tonight's show, the usual intoxicating blend of music and talk. Music from Travis and Enrique Iglesias, talk from three entertainers who owe their stardom to a soap, a sitcom and Sunday night at the London Palladium. The sitcom was Men Behaving Badly. My guest played Gary the Slob and became a national hero. He is Martin Clunes. The Palladium made a star of one of our best-loved comedians. He is Jimmy Tarbuck. Now, my first guest made her name on EastEnders, playing the vampish Cindy Beale. Since then, she's built a reputation as one of television's most bankable stars. Versatile, too, having played a bank robber, a bigamist, and a man-eater in recent times. Welcome, please, Michelle Collins. Oh, smashing.
Thank you.
Now let's talk a little bit about the start for you, the start being the EastEnders. I suppose there's a sense in which you never lose the Cindy Beale character, isn't there?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's 4 years later, and people still, you know, I'm still Cindy Beale, definitely to some people. Although I was walking down the street the other day, and someone in my daughter's school, there were some workmen, and one of them said, "Yeah, all right, Cindy," as they do. And the other one said, "Oh, no, leave her alone. She's a proper actress now. Her name's Michelle Collins." I was like,
so you're making some progress.
Yes.
Yeah. But it is a strange kind of fame, isn't it, being a soap star? It has that confusion with the character, which other actors don't have.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways it can be a very dangerous sort of fame as well, I think. And especially being EastEnders, you're so protected in that sort of world and very cocooned and everyone else is sort of just like you, and then suddenly when you leave you suddenly realise that it's all, I don't know, it's just very, very scary. You suddenly realise the power of your character when you're actually outside of it.
In what sense power? And what do you mean by that?
I suppose there's sort of just that, you know, it's a 24-hour job every day of the week. You never ever get away from it. And I think that I was quite lucky that I went in there when I was quite old, really. Well, 26, 27. But a lot of them, some of them who go in when they're like sort of 16, 17.
Yes.
And I think it's really hard for them to suddenly adjust. You know, 1 minute they're on the train going into the studios, and like 6 months' time they've bought themselves a flash car, and they've completely changed. And we all know, we won't mention names, about people, you know, that have been through really terrible times.
Yeah.
And I do think that they should be protected more.
Well, it's a point. No, there's no manual, is there? I mean, nobody tells you.
But there was, when I was there, when Julia Smith was there, who was very protective of the programme, and it was her baby. And we did have a lady there called Auntie Gilly, who was like our sort of, she was our auntie, she looked after us, you know.
Really?
I think you really need that.
Like the staff nurse, was she? The staff counsellor?
And, you know, the press can be really, you don't know what they can be like, and suddenly, you know, if you're not used to it and you're thrown into it. But also, you know, the case, like, you know, when I wanted to leave, it's fine for me to be there, but suddenly when you want to move out, oh, no, what are you trying to do? You're trying to be sort of taken seriously now. Well, I'm sorry, you can't be, you know, and you're fine when you're in there, but you can't, people don't like to actually see you move on, I think. And I found that quite tough when I left. I still find it quite tough.
But I mean, the pros far outweigh the cons, because what it does do, if you handle it properly, is that it makes your name and it gives you a kind of entree into other things. But let's go back to the beginning with you, because coming from your background as you did, your mother was a single parent. Where did you get the urge to act? What was the inspiration?
Val Doonican, I think. Val Doonican on Top of the Pops. And the Forsyte Saga, I used to love.
Ah, the first Forsyte Saga, yes.
I don't know, I was very, very shy as a child, painfully shy. I mean, I still am, but I've learned how to sort of cover it up, as most actors do. But just wanting, I don't know, wanting to be in a different world than I was. Not that it was just awful, but I suppose in a sort of, wanted a sort of fantasy world. And I always remember wanting to run away and be one of Pan's people on Top of the Pops with my cousin.
Which one did you want to be?
Oh, I wanted to be Flick.
Flick, did you? Oh, yeah.
She wanted to be Cherry. So, you know, like I said, it was tough, you know, in the 60s, bringing up 2 children on your own, I think. And
that's what your mum did?
Yeah, and...
She also, did she not study for a university degree as well?
When she was about 40, she went back to university, yes.
Amazing.
Which I think was fantastic, because, you know, it was very hard. And she had sort of lots of jobs here and there. But I think that's where I get my strength from, definitely, and my independence.
But this shy kid, too, learnt very quickly the meaning of rejection, which, of course, all actors have to do, of course, and that's what seems to be the worst thing about your job, is the rejection. Because you went to about 12 drama schools and got turned down by everyone.
Yeah. Yes, when I was about... I went to very strict grammar school, and I left when I was 16 and went to Kingston Princeton, which was I did a drama course in my A-level English, and I tried to get in, and I was turned down by every single one, and I wasn't even 18, so it was like a terrible, you know, it was awful, and I just thought, oh, sod you lot, you know.
But you did get a job, didn't you, with Mary Wilson?
I did, yes. I got the part on a video for Squeeze, and the director of that video said, oh, do you like to be in this band? And I said, okay, and couldn't really sing, but had loads of sort of, you know, this... confidence, I don't know, and it was Mary Wilson Alsatian. She was on the Beehive.
Yeah,
do you
I remember very well indeed.
And
yeah.
I was called Candy Collins. Candide. And I was with the band for about a year, I suppose.
What was it like touring around?
It was fantastic, and I think, you know, it's sort of sad because it wasn't like being in a band these days. I mean, the most we ever got was 30 quid a week, and all our clothes were from the Oxfam and charity shops, and we stayed in the cheapest sort of B&Bs you could ever imagine. But it was sort of great fun, and, you know, all I could afford was a club biscuit and a bowl of Rice Krispies in a Granada service station. Yeah. So, you know, I wasn't overly happy, but it then pushed me back into doing something that I really wanted to do.
What kind of other job? You worked at McDonald's too, didn't you, to keep body and soul together?
I did, yeah, 90p an hour.
90p an hour, that's well.
The worst thing in McDonald's is when you've got to do trash walk.
What's that?
Well, I had to have my hat on because it was so embarrassing, and I put it right down there, and you have to walk outside with your broom, your dustpan and brush, and pick up all the rubbish for about 200 yards down the road. And I'd always see my friends on a Saturday coming down, and it was just really embarrassing. But it was great fun. You know, I had loads of... You know, I worked in London Zoo, McDonald's, I worked for Zetta's Pools. You do that when you're starting out.
I mean, does it, when you look back on it, does it all add up to something? I mean, something that you wouldn't have done without? I mean, did it...
I think so. I think it's made me very sort of... you know, I appreciate what I've got now. And, you know, and even though, I mean, I didn't get my first telly till I was about sort of 22 or something. And even then I was always defensive about not going to drama school.
Yes.
You know, people always, that was the first question they asked, where did you go?
Yes.
And there wasn't an EastEnders then. There wasn't any sort of, the only thing I suppose people like me did were like sort of Bless This House or sort of, I don't know, dodgy sitcoms and things. You know, there wasn't anything really for working class actors or actresses.
Yes, well, of course, I mean, what the soaps have done now is they've become, in a sense, rhetoric companies, haven't they? Exactly that. But also, too, you mentioned there being insecure and uncertain about yourself when you were younger, and of course, you went through an anorexic period, didn't you, as well? How bad was it?
It was actually when I'd left the band. It was quite bad. I got down to probably about, I don't know, I mean, I was very thin, 6 stone or something.
Really?
Yeah, I was very bad, and my mother took me to the doctors, and, you know, I wasn't only not eating, I was bulimic and laxatives, I mean, the whole lot. It's really horrible. And then I went to an audition, and somebody phoned up my agent and said I looked like a heroin addict. And I thought I looked fantastic. Yeah. And, but, you know, that's scary, and you know, your body is, you are a product, you know. And, but then I sort of got into exercise and things like that. I mean, it took me a long time. I don't think I've ever totally recovered. I think if you have anorexia, you know, it's something you never really get over with. You just have to sort of learn to sort of live with it, really, or
But what I can't understand the compulsion. What is it?
I don't know. I mean, if anyone understood, you know, I think there are so many more, you know, anorexia is getting more popular with younger and younger people. It's really quite sad. Especially, you know, the media. People are so obsessed with, I think now, with being in the public eye, being models, you know, pop idol. Everyone wants to be sort of out there. And models are very skinny, really skinny. You know, and they have a black coffee and a fag, and that's it. It's not a great...
Well, they say, people saying about babies, oh, baby's fat. Well, babies are meant to be fat, aren't they?
Well, my little girl is 5.5, and someone told her that she was fat.
Really?
And, you know, it's terrible.
Yes.
It's really awful. So she has this thing, you know, she's sort of, I call her like sort of Botticelli sort of style.
Sure.
She's just lovely and cuddly. And
you want to bite the bums, don't you?
And, yes.
It's better, isn't it?
And it's really awful, you know. I think to even be thinking about fat at like 5.5, it's really scary.
Yes, you're quite right. There's an entire industry which beguiles kids into thinking that this is the way they should be.
It's all about how we look and how, you know, and it shouldn't really be about that.
But you go through it yourself. I mean, you didn't seek any kind of professional help in that sense.
No, I didn't. I was lucky that I didn't have to. But
again, it argues for a very strong personality, doesn't it? A very determined person.
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, my mother probably helped. I've got a fantastic mum who was a great role model to me, and a sister as well I'm very, very close to. So, you know, they really helped.
It's almost obscene, actually, to go from that to the next subject that I wanted to talk to you about, and that's your work with Oxfam. Because, I mean, here we're going to a situation where people are starving for reasons that they have no control over at all. But you do a lot of work, don't you, for Oxfam now? In fact, you just returned from...
Kenya.
From Kenya.
To Nairobi. I came back on Saturday, went for about 4 days.
And what was the purpose of your job there?
Well, it's part of Oxfam's education fund. I've been to Brazil and I've been to South Africa. And it's, you know, the government's, the Millennium Goals pledge that they'd get the 125 million children that don't receive a primary education into school by the year 2015.
Right.
That's basically what the sort of goals are. So, so I went out there to visit a project called the Pendekezo Letter, which was a sort of refuge for young girls, street girls, who'd been rescued from the streets, who were, some were prostitutes. I mean, there was one little girl who was 6 who had gonorrhea and syphilis. One child who was a heroin addict. They glue sniff. I mean, it's so awful. You just can't imagine how terrible, and the conditions they live in. You know, there's no sanitation, there's no running water, there's no electricity, there's nothing. But the kids are so sort of, they just bounce back, don't they? The kids were smiling and happy, but the parents were like really just grim, and there was no hope at all.
What hope do you offer them? What do you do?
Well, basically what this centre does, it takes them to the country for 6 months. They receive medical care, counselling, and they also receive a basic education, because these kids, you have to pay to go to school in Kenya, which I think most people don't know.
Yes.
And then what they do, then they try and get in touch with the parents of the children, and then sort of encourage them to get loans. They give them loans, so therefore that they can pay for their children eventually to go to school. It's sort of empowering them. You can't just give them wads of cash, because that's not going to work.
But I mean, it is you paint that picture of this sort of awful camp. But I mean, is there hope with the children? I mean, are they?
I think I know there's hope, because I've seen success stories. I've met some of the girls who went to the care centre sort of 2 years down the line, and you know, they really want to go to school. I asked them what they wanted to be. They want to be a teacher or a social worker, which is so refreshing, isn't it? Because you ask kids here what they want to be, and they go, I want to be a TV presenter, or, you know, I want to be on Pop Idol.
Yeah, but they're living in the real world, in a sense, aren't they? Not in the...
Yeah, I know, but it just... I don't know, and I went to Downing Street yesterday. I talked to some kids from Ilfracombe and Bath who'd... so they do care. These kids had written this huge project, all these letters about why they thought that the government should help these kids in developing countries. And I think that's fantastic, that our kids can have sort of empathy with kids in third world countries. Because, you know, our kids have everything, don't they? You know, we're so materialistic. And my daughter gave me a bag of dolls, some Barbies. And I made the silly mistake of giving this child a Barbie, and there was just like a mass riot. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yes.
And they don't have toys, you know. How can they have toys when they don't even have food?
Yes.
But as you can see, I'm quite passionate about it because I've seen it. Yeah. And you know, I know a lot of people knock it about celebrities doing things, but I don't actually care now, because I think, you know, it does do good.
It depends on the reason why you do it, you know. And quite obviously you do it for the right reason. You follow through. You You know, it's no good to do it just a photo call, is it? I mean, that's the worst.
Yeah, I did slip a hello shoot in. No, I didn't really.
We're not what we're talking about.
So, I mean, going back to that time when you were with EastEnders, you mentioned there that one of the things that you had to learn to cope with, and particularly a woman too, an attractive woman on any soap, in TV indeed, is the press intrusion. And what was the worst time? What was the moment? Was there a moment when you thought, this is stupid, this really is out of hand?
I think probably when I'd left. I think it was just to have Maya, and my partner, Fabrizio, went to the newsagents, and he came back and he went, look, and there was a copy of a newspaper. I'm not going to say what it was, which paper it was, because I don't like that newspaper. And it was Ian Beale laying on the floor, dead, with the blood all. I mean, it was pretty horrific, and it took up the whole page of the Mirror, a bit like they did the same with Phil Mitchell. And he said, look, and I just said, no, it's telly. It's not real. And I just thought, this is so... Because, you know, you just couldn't believe it.
Yes, I know.
It was just unbelievable.
Yeah. There was also a story in research, too, about when you were pregnant with your child. That's,
they followed...
An air trip you'd made. And in the airplane, I mean, did I read it right? On one occasion, the only place you could sit in the airplane, well, there weren't any children.
Yeah. When I just sort of announced that I was pregnant and I was coming back from... somewhere, and I was on the plane, and there was a journalist practically in every single row, and the only way I could get away, was to go into the cockpit, and it was just ridiculous. And they ended up going on the luggage trolley. You know, it was great because it was really quick. But
and no customs.
Get a life, just go away. You know, go and watch telly or something. You know,
But all that's in the past. In a sense, it's not, though, because as we said at the beginning of this interview, it never leaves you.
No, but, you know, it sort of became lesser, but you just got to sort of get on with it. And I always remember my agent said to me, you know, when I left, well, Michelle, this is it. Celebrity, you're not a celebrity. You're going to be an actress now, and you're going to keep your head down, and you're not going to do all that stuff that goes with it. And I think, you know, I did try and do that, and generally it sort of works. I mean, at the end of the day, it's always going to be your work that shows, I think.
And are you happy now in that respect with your career?
I am, but I'm still very ambitious. I still think, you know, that I'm not... I still think I'm not taken as seriously as I'd quite like to be, but I think that's still having the sort of, you know, the stigma about being Cindy in EastEnders.
But I mean, on the other side of that coin, of course, it does make you bankable, as I said. I mean, you've
never, that's one good thing.
You've never. It's the best thing of all. You've never stopped working, have you?
No, it has been fantastic.
And you're continuing, aren't you? You've got one or two interesting projects.
Yes, I'm doing another 2,000 Acres of Sky in July, and I've set up my own production company with a writer, Susan Udo, who wrote Real Women and Perfect, and Margaret Enifer, and we all get on very well and sort of know what we want to do, and if it's not going to come to us, then we're going to make it happen. So. And
also, am I right in saying that you might be playing Dusty Springfield in a film about her life?
It's in development. It's something that I would really love to do. But funny, I went to a Dusty tribute recently. It was in Henley-on-Thames.
Henley-on-Thames.
And because she was called Mary Catherine O'Brien, was her real name, and she was buried just around the corner. And it was full of her fans, and they had a screen on, which was running Dusty music all day. And one of them said, I tell you what, when you play Dusty, do us a favour, don't sing. Okay. But I think they just thought that I could never ever match Dusty. And then I met Dusty's secretary, this really lovely lady called Pat, and she said, it's really funny, you know, because we did always talk about whoever played Dusty, and we said it would be, we'd like you to do it if it ever happened. So, you know, I don't know, hopefully, I think she was an amazing woman, had an amazing life.
She did indeed, extraordinary lady, yeah. Well, so it's all booked up for the future.
I'm doing another 2,000 Acres, but I don't know. I mean, you know, the good thing about this business is you're never quite sure what's around the corner.
Do you have time for a love life now? Oh.
Sometimes, yes. Have I gone red?
Yes, prettily red. You're going to get married soon, or what?
I think my mum would like me to get married. I've already been married 8 times. Anyway, my daughter tells everybody.
She does.
Because I played a bigamist, yeah. I've always been married 8 times, you know, and I was her bridesmaid.
But it's not a priority in your life. You don't lie awake at night thinking about it.
Oh, I think I'm past that now. I'm too old.
Past? Oh, come on.
No, sort of marriage.
I mean, me and Jimmy Tarbuck are past it. We'll tell you about that.
I'd like to settle down, but, you know, I don't know about marriage, really.
All right. Michelle Collins, thank you very much indeed. Michelle Collins. Music now, and the singer who's the best-selling Latin recording artist in the world. He's sold more than 26 million albums. Here performing his new single, Escape. Welcome, please, Enrique Iglesias.
Here's how it goes, you and me, up and down, but maybe this time we'll get it right with the fight. But love is something you can shake when it breaks. All it takes is some trying. If you feel like leaving, I'm not gonna beg you to stay. Soon you'll be finding you can run, you can hide, but you can't escape my love. You can run, you can hide, but you can't escape my love. If you go, you should know it's hard to just forget the past so fast. It was good, it was bad, but it was real, and that's all you have. In the end, all alone matters. If you feel like leaving, I'm not gonna beg you to stay. Soon you'll be finding you can run, you can hide, but you can't escape my love. You can run, you can hide, but you can't escape my love. You can hide, but you can't escape my love. You can run, you can hide, but you can't escape my love. Here's how it goes. All it takes is some trying. You can run like leaving. I'm not gonna beg you to stay. I won't beg you to stay. You'll be finding you can run, you can hide, but you can't escape my love. Like leaving. I'm not gonna beg you to stay. Escape my soon you'll be finding you can run, you can hide, but you can't escape my love. Maybe you can run, maybe you can hide, but you can't escape my love. Maybe you can run, maybe you can hide, but you can't escape my love. Maybe you can run, maybe you can hide, but you can't escape my love. Maybe you can run, maybe you can hide, but you can't escape my love. Maybe you can run, maybe you can hide, but you can't escape my love. But you can't escape my love.
My next guest arrived at the London Palladium as an unknown comic and became a star overnight. It was a long time ago. Bruce Forsyth was a lad, rationing had just finished, beer was twopence a pint, and Liverpool were in the second division. Since then, he's seen them all come and go while he's worked on his lifelong ambition to groove the perfect golf swing and make people laugh. Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Tarbuck.
wonderful. You're lovely.
You're looking very trim, old-timer.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, not as trim as this lovely girl, but a little trim.
Yeah.
Went to the docs, he said, you're a diabetic.
Really?
Yes, right out the blue. He said, you're full of sugar. Now, that could have been worse.
Are you really diabetic?
Ah, he said, no more beer. We can't go there.
Oh, dear.
The Shakespeare's out. Can't do it anymore.
No.
But I'm allowed two, I don't know what they call it, units
2 units.
a day. But he didn't say what size, Parky.
I see. 2 buckets, eh?
Just to tell you something, young lady, it is a categoric fact that married ladies are fatter, no, seriously, than single women. You know why? Single girl gets home, looks in the fridge, and goes to bed. Married woman looks in the bed and goes down to the fridge. Guys.
Just back from Portugal.
I am just back from Portugal. It was lovely.
For holiday and what?
Yes, you know I live out there in the winter because I love it down there.
Yeah.
They're very nice people, and they like Brits. And the weather's smashing. The fish is the best in the world, I think, because they do that and then they cook it. But if you go, and I recommend, I will give a plug for Portugal, I recommend it, but be very careful, all of you, the sunbathing.
Fine.
Well, I mean, the sun is much stronger, Michael, and you get some... Callum went on a Palomine, Terry Jordan went out there, sudden hot day, 3-degree burns.
3rd-degree burn.
30, could not move.
Really?
They had to just spray him with a water spray, just like that. And he took 1 Viagra of a night. No, he did, kept the sheets off him.
I don't know why I listen. I don't know. But why do I pay attention?
I don't know.
Now, you're doing a documentary now, or you've done a documentary about your old mate, our old mate, Bobby Moore.
Yes.
Yeah.
David Frost got it together.
Yeah.
Really nice thing, just about Bob. Because, you know, he was 51 when he died. And an anniversary come up. And you know what a nice man he was.
Yes, he
Very
was.
friendly guy. And they said, well, I said, I'd be honoured to be on it and talk about Moro.
Yeah.
All right, Jim, all's well.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, he phoned you. How's Mary? How's the kids? Seen Tarby? I mean, that was him all the time. And so we did this. And I mean, as big a star as Beckham is, and a good example to youth, I think he is, David Beckham. I think he's great. He's like Owen. They're great examples.
Yes, they are.
So was Bobby. Bobby was the biggest star in the world. Well, you remember, we went out with him and we were quite well known, but they all just wanted, there's Bobby Moore.
Yeah.
All wanted to meet him. And the FA, I mean, they want their knuckles wrapped. They never gave him one ambassadorial job or going with a team and all that. Pele did it for...
Yeah, you're right. But the entire... I mean, this documentary is coming out because of the World Cup coming up.
Yes.
Because the last time we won is 1966. And we still talk of it fondly, don't we? But look at the way those guys were treated. And what did they get? What was their bonus for winning the World Cup?
£1,000, and they were taxed
And
on
they were
it.
taxed on it. That's right, exactly.
Now, I looked after his testimonial.
Bobby's
fund.
testimonial,
Yes, I
yeah.
did. Moro's testimonial.
Yeah.
And I just had a look this morning, and 2 of us always had to be there to sign when the money was released. £18,950
Is that what it means?
for a man who captained his country, won the World Cup, and I must say, I'm painting him beautiful, was the greatest lager drinker in the world, he was. But he was also the best trainer.
Yeah,
Bobby Campbell had him at Fulham at the end of his career. He said, yeah, he could have a drink, Moro, but by God, he was first on the training ground and he was last off.
Yeah, but he did like a drink, didn't he?
Bless him, yes.
We all did, yes.
You, him and me.
Yes.
Oh, hey. Do you realise there's only 3 of us left now?
Is there?
Yes.
Oh.
You, me and Sven.
Sven.
Oh.
How do we fit in with Sven?
How do we fit in? Let's get off this bloody show and let's get upstairs to the newsroom and we'll each grab a weather girl. Come on. Yes. Martin Clunes has gone. He said, that'll do me. He's up the stairs.
I mean, I can't work this out with Sven. I mean, do you think he's sexy, Michelle? No, but I mean, they've had all this week, they've had all these recently, all these articles by various women saying, you know...
I think you're sexier.
I am.
Oh, Bobby!
There you go.
Hang on a minute. What about the chubby funster?
Chubby fun.
I'm nearer to you.
I don't know, it's very strange. I mean, and then again, you're thinking back to 1966. I mean, could you imagine Sir Ralph Ramsey doing what he did?
Pulling a bird.
Pulling a bird. I mean,
You see Sven going, do you want to go and have a drink? Imagine that. Hello, would you like to have a drink?
It's the power, though, isn't it?
I think it is, yes. Quite right.
all right, well, let's go back and talk a little bit about you now. What was it like working with your daughter? I mean, you did Linda Green. These had a very big success with that, and they asked you to play a part in it, and a very specific part, in fact. You were the uncle who came back, who might just have been the dad, right?
Well, we were in the kitchen at home at Chateau Tarbuck. She said, would you like...
Chateau Tarbuck.
Chateau, it sounds good, doesn't it?
It does sound good, but
Yes.
jump two down, yeah.
But, she said, would you like to pop on? So I said, certainly, of course I will, my darling. You know, I love her desperately. Very proud of her. Proud of the three of them, you know that? And she said, yeah, just pop on. Well, I got up to Manchester, pop on. 7 o'clock picked up, 9 o'clock returned in the evening, 5 days, home for 2 days, rest back. I was knackered. I haven't, yes, you're not looking to the camera properly on the left. Oh, sorry about that. Yes, hello. Now we'll shoot it over your shoulder. Don't look that way. Hello. Yes. And I'm saying to her, yeah, she said, you're doing great. I said, I'm doing great, you. I said, you will.
But it worked nicely. It was nice support.
It was great fun being with her and seeing her work with her colleagues.
Yeah.
I was very, very, very proud.
I bet you
and
were.
Paulina's as well.
We're
When
quite
we are
right, quite right to be proud of her. She's a good lass. Let's have a look at you, the two of you together in this lovely scene. As I say, you might be her dad. We don't know.
So why has it gone? What have you come back for?
We handed the colony back.
Oh, so really gone. How come?
I take it history is not your strongest point.
Well, I can do the Battle of Hastings and the Fire of London. I work backwards from the World Cup.
66. The writing was on the wall. I mean, it was only a matter of time before they flung our lads out. Our lads knew it, they knew it. It was a bit like that film where you all fall asleep and you wait for a replica.
Body snatchers.
Body snatchers, absolutely. What are you all staring at me for?
That's it. You're going to finally write the book, aren't you, about your life? You've been
Being,
thought about.
yes, they're on about at the moment.
Yeah. So, I mean, looking back, I mean, did you want to be a star when you grew up in Liverpool? Was that the ambition, or?
I wanted to be a footballer, you know that, and I just wasn't good enough. I played down at Brighton and that. But my dad, Fred was an alehouse comic.
Yeah, for your father?
Yes, I mean, and I am a clone. You know all this talk, this disgraceful cloning? Look at one. You look at me, you look at Fred Tarbuck.
Really?
I was just like him. He was a very nice man and a funny guy, and he loved comics.
Yes.
And he used to take me to go and watch comics. Of course, my mum was a dancer, and my granddad was a Piro in the Isle of Man.
So genetically, there's
Well,
some- yeah.
if you like, I don't know
Yeah.
if that goes there.
Yeah.
And so we used to go, and he went to school with Ted Ray, who was a great comedian,
Yeah,
a
he
great
was.
comic.
He was a good
Dave Morris was his pal.
Yeah.
And I used to be in the company sometimes when I was a kid, and they just used to make me laugh. And I used to go everywhere to watch comics.
What kind of... Do you remember them?
Harry Bailey was a great Irish comedian, and a guy called Sonny Roy, who was the poor man's George Formby. And he had this finishing song, and I don't know, would you like to hear it?
Oh, yes. it must
Laurie, we'll just try this, Laurie. I don't know if it'll work. And he'd be on there and he'd say, the day that I married Selena, I thought that she looked divine. But I said to myself, there's something wrong with that wife of mine. As we entered the bridal chamber, she treated me like a stranger. Not a word was said. We stood by the bed, side by side. She said, much to my sorrow, I'll take out my teeth till tomorrow. Her teeth and her hair she placed on a chair.
Side by side.
Middle, I lost faith forever when her glass eyes so small, with her arm and her leg tied together, tacit, she slung on a nail in the wall. Well, I was quite broken hearted, with half of me pride I had parted. So I slept on the chair, there was more of her there. Side by side. Oh, dear.
Oh, God. They're marvellous.
But he was a great comic, and you know, when we've been discussing comedy, certain comics walked on to love.
Yeah.
Seacombe,
Yeah.
Tommy Cooper,
Yeah.
Eric Morecambe.
Absolutely.
Now, the others walked on, and they are admired. But those three, and I worked with the three of them, walked on to waves of love from the audience.
Yes, it did. But I mean, looking back again on your career, but I mean, you've worked all over the place and worked with just about everybody, Americans and big stars. I mean, who have been when you look back and think, yeah, they were the best performers, not just comics, the best performers.
The best stage comic in this country for laughs, Ken Dodd would win easy. He'd get more laughs than anyone. He'd do you for 3 hours, and if he didn't like you, he'll do another 2. 5 hours, yes. And I wish him well, incidentally. He was taken into hospital in Liverpool.
Was he?
Hemorrhoids. No, don't laugh. They've looked up his arse and found another 50 grand. Anyway, there's... the best... By Jove, he's done it again about me. I'll get him back. Morris, did you like that one, Parky?
I didn't like that.
I'll explain it to you later, Michelle.
No,
Anyway,
because I was actually feeling very sympathetic. And I said,
We are,
well,
yes.
send him my best wishes too. And it's quite a terrible
all
gag
about
like
his
that.
farmers. And then there's... Maurice Chevalier was
I
fantastic.
never met him or saw him live.
Lovely.
Was he?
Very nice, sharp man. And he went, you must keep one foot in the modern, but one foot in the traditional. And he just worked with a pianist. I think the most talented man I've ever seen would have to be Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah,
You know?
I wouldn't disagree with that. Yeah. And you worked with all these.
Yes,
people.
I did,
Yeah,
and
you did.
it's been lovely.
Yeah.
Been lovely working with them.
What were the downsides?
The downsides.
I mean, you had a great. You've enjoyed your life, haven't you? I mean.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. People ask me about fame. I can't talk on fame. I'll tell you what it's like being Jimmy Tarbuck. It's bloody magnificent, I promise you faithfully. I've been everywhere. They've paid me to go to Hong Kong, to go to America, you know, all over the world. And I've just had a real good time, Michael.
Yeah.
And I've met some of the nicest people. And the nasty ones, you don't want to be with them, do you?
No.
Just go, yeah, you're right, pal, go on your bike. You know, I mean, yeah, I've no time, I can't be doing with that. I want to be with mates, friends, have a good time, take you for a drink later. And I want to do all these things.
Well, but that's been the nice thing about knowing you, actually. It's been, you know, I mean, one knows a lot of comics, and one or two of them are quite sort of solemn people. But you've always enjoyed being with people and making people laugh.
I like having a laugh, you know that.
Yes.
I mean, if a comic's funny, I'm the best audience in the world. I love it.
Yes.
You know, you see them worrying about going. I mean, I've seen, I won't know names on now, but I've seen fellas being physically sick before they went on the stage.
Yes.
Well, by God, if it does that to you,
Yeah.
don't do it, pal. You know, I mean, you go in a shop and go selling, or, you know, suppose you've met actresses and actors who are as nervous as that. You must enjoy it.
If it kills you, don't bother with it.
Oh, I get nerves. Not to say I don't get nerves. I do get nervous, but it's a bit of apprehension till you do the first gag.
Yeah, that's right. You need
And then you're off and running and enjoying it.
What happens if it dies of death, the first gag?
Well, you bugger off, don't you? Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks very much. I'll be back in a moment.
Have you thought of a title for your book?
For my book.
Yes, for your autobiography.
Well, I'm not... Any in the audience? Title? Are we alive? All join hands and we get in touch with the living. Come on. You on the end, love. Put your finger in the light socket. Don't do it, you silly buggy. You'll blow a camera up.
Well, Billy's was called Billy. Why didn't you call it Jimmy?
Just Jimmy? Yes, something like that.
Just Jimmy.
Yes.
Think of
I'm going to ask you to write it for me,
You are.
but with certain chapters left out.
God almighty.
We won't mention the barmaids of the Thames, Valley, and
God.
what this man has done for saving them and looking after them and cajoling them. I had this migraine one day, and this fella, and I mean a bad one, he said, how bad? I said, I can't swing the club, I can't cut drinking jokes. He said, I had one. He said, all I did, he said, was rest my head in between my wife's very ample boobies. He said, and she rubbed them round my neck, and he said, and it went like that. And let me tell you, it works. And what a lovely house you've got.
Give it Darwin. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Give it
much.
Darwin.
Thank you.
Thank you. More music now from one of the most popular and acclaimed rock bands of the moment. Here singing their current hit single, Flowers in the Window. Big welcome, please, the marvellous Travis.
but there was no one there to hold. Before I swore that I would be alone forevermore. Well, look at you now, flowers in the window, such a lovely day. And I'm glad you feel the same, 'cause to stand up out in the crowd, you are one in a million, and I love you so. Let's watch the flowers grow. There is no reason to feel bad, but there are many seasons to feel bad. Sad, mad, it's just a bunch of feelings that we have to hold. But I am here to help you with the load. Well, look at you now, flowers in the window, such a lovely day. And I'm glad you feel the same, 'cause to stand up out in the crowd, you are one in a million, and I love you so. Let's watch the flowers grow. So now we're here and now it's fine. So far away from there, and there it's time, time, time to plant new seeds and watch them grow. So there are flowers in the window when we go. Well, look at us now, flowers in the window, such a lovely day. And I'm glad you feel the same, 'cause to stand up out in the crowd, you are one in a million, and I love you so. Let's watch the flowers grow. Oh, well, look at you now, flowers in the window, it's such a lovely day. And I'm glad you feel the same, 'cause to stand up out in the crowd, you are one in a million, and I love you so. Let's watch the flowers grow. Let's watch the flowers grow. Thank you. Cheers, Patrick.
Travis, good band, nice lads. Now, my final guest tonight made his name as the lovable slob in Men Behaving Badly. He's just finished a stint at the National Theatre in Molière's Tartuffe. Sitcom to the classics demonstrates his range and his talent. Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Clunes. Tartuffe, eh? Molière.
Tartuffe.
The classics.
Yes. Do you know what my wife said when I said, "Oh, I'm going to play Tartuffe at the house"? She said, Emily, she said, "Oh, your daddy's going to be Tarzan."
Your daughter said that?
No, my wife.
Oh, your
did.
wife said that. That's no excuse for your daughter. She's how old?
2.5.
2.5, that's all right. But not your wife. How old is she?
She's a little older.
Yeah, but you got very good reviews. Marvellous
Yes,
reviews.
with the talk of Waterloo.
You were indeed. And I suppose also, too, that what you have to find is something that Michelle was talking about earlier, was I suppose the critics are a bit snotty about people who appear on television, aren't they, in successful sitcoms or soaps or whatever.
I think there's a strange thing with the dressing up game. That there's a sort of there's strange sort of inter-industry snobberies. The people in film, you know, it's television and stage, and the people in the theatre as well. Oh, film and television, you know. But in television, everyone's quite humble. Like, I work in them all. I love them. You know, they're all places to go and work. I think that sort of thing is more people talking about themselves, isn't it? How smashing I am. I can.
What about actually doing the theatre? Because going back to it, I mean, what do you like about it? What do you not like about it?
I don't know, it was a sort of a dare thing, really. There was a part of me that was guilty about not having done it for 12 years. And and also it was like, I was afraid of, you know, acting for longer than 3 minutes at a time, which is quite, because it's, you know, you break it down into bite-sized pieces for film and telly, which is very nice, and you go in your trailer and have a nap after lunch. But you've got to keep on, you know, shouting night after night, and it's quite, there is a nerves thing, and you get flatulent and hot and spirit gum. Luckily I was wearing a cassock, but then farts would come on with me. It's good, unbelievable. You could look at other actors and blame it on them.
I love the stage of entertaining farts.
Yes.
Stage left.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I suppose also too there's that adrenaline factor, isn't there? That you do it what eight times a week, or you finish late at night and you get home.
You get home and everyone's asleep.
That's right.
So you end up watching real-life car crashes on the telly till 2 in the morning, hoping you'll drop off.
When you said that there was a sense in which you felt you had to do it, was it also about the tradition within your family, your father being a famous actor?
I suppose it could be. And like you're third generation, aren't
Yeah.
you? Because my grandparents were a musical act, my father's parents.
Were they?
Yeah, called the... I don't know what they did. They were called the Brownies. And we've got old sepia postcards at home with them sort of peeping out from behind trees on stage.
Do you remember much about your father?
Yeah, I remember his sort of presence and his sight. I mean, I was 8 when he died.
Yes.
I remember once asking my dad, you know, in the way that you do, were there dinosaurs around when you were a kid, Dad? And he went, yeah, just the flying ones. Years later, I found out, of course.
Yes, I mean, gone through.
But it had a sort of, you know, air of plausibility.
A ring to it,
yeah.
And was your childhood unhappy because of his death? I mean,
No,
was
no, I
it
don't
lonely?
think so. Not that I was aware of at the time,
No.
no. It's I had my mum and my sister.
Yes.
We all...
But you were sent away to boarding school, weren't you?
Yes.
At an early age?
Yeah, soon after he died, yeah.
Yeah, soon after he died. So there was a sad and lonely child, I would imagine.
I suppose so, but you put up with so much when you're that age. Everyone's sort of queuing up to be horrible to you, aren't they?
Very resilient.
Just sit there, put that on, shut up. You know, so it sort of joined the whole, I guess, of
So what was the survival technique? I mean, you were bullied, you were...
bit of that, yeah. And then bullied a bit back when I got... I think, you know, quite lucky to be funny looking. So you get out of that.
Looking at all.
Or sort of to making people laugh, showing off.
Yes.
Was, yeah, but that in itself is...
That got you out of jail?
That's an act of neediness, don't you think? The sort of... we need approval on a fairly large scale.
Being funny.
Like me!
We're all terribly insecure, horribly insecure.
Yeah. It's a wonderful, yes, guide through life, isn't it? Being able to make people laugh. I mean, it's marvellous. You can change situations, can't you?
Yeah.
You can avoid danger. You can do anything you like, provided you make people laugh.
Yeah, or smile at. I mean, my French isn't very good, but any time I go to France and I try it on, I go, bonjour. And they go, oh yeah. And then they'll help you.
What was drama school like? Because unlike Michelle, you got into drama school.
I did, yeah.
You probably went to one of those that turned them down.
But they had this list of things, you know, I was 16, straight out of school, a list of things that you needed, and rather like your band wearing those black roller neck, we had to have those for mime and movement.
Yes.
And jazz bells. Did you ever come across jazz bells?
Jazz bells.
They're a knitted bell bottom. And
Morris dancers.
they stop about black knitted flares, itchy. And sort of for day one, I put mine on and sort of toe all in black like that. And they ended about there with a flare, and nobody else had them on. I felt such a prat. They never came out again. Yeah.
What was that first TV success? Yeah, the first sitcom.
No Place Like
No
Home.
Place Like Home.
Yes.
And that was rather good because you quite a few snogging scenes there. I mean, the
That was
basic
the gem.
premise seemed to me that you could actually get a variety of girls onto this couch.
That's right, yes.
And before you could do anything, you were interrupted.
Yeah.
Was that fun?
Well, no, because those things, sex scenes are never that fun, you know, or anything. Not the kid. Well, especially these poor girls with these childbearing lips bearing down on them. It was right, and you sort of put it off because you rehearse a sitcom for the week and then you record it on the Saturday. And I thought, well, we'll have to get around to it soon. So we'll be kissing like that for the rehearsals, and they go ha ha ha. They move on. So and it was getting near, and she just every time I sort of closed in on her, she went. So I said, I think we might have a problem to Robin Nash, the director. And I said, well, shall I just lift her top up instead? I think the audience will get the same. It was actually a slightly better joke, I think. But it was one girl I didn't meet until the day, and I was just sort of leaning over, and I noticed she hadn't saved her legs under the tights. So, well, that looks like black hairs under tights. It's never that appealing. Anyway, I kissed her.
That put you on to it?
Well, a little bit, yeah.
And is there also, too, we're talking again to Michelle about the way that a role in a soap captures you for a while and your reputation. Is there a sense in which sitcom does the same? Because Men Behaving Badly was such a huge success.
Yeah.
I mean, it was good for you. It was wonderful.
Fantastic,
You know,
yeah,
all
yeah.
kinds of things led from it. But is there a sense in which it doesn't leave you?
Yes, in a sense. But, I mean, I'd be pretty I wouldn't have played Tartu for the National if I hadn't
of course
been in a
not.
sitcom.
No, she's done other things too.
I mean,
but the reaction that you get, is it still Gary the lad?
That tends to be more the media than newspapers.
Does it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I get Man Behaving Dadly now if they get me out with Emily. So, well done.
Yes.
Writers, are you?
Yeah.
Clever.
Met a lot of people. Just let's be reminded of it. There's just a lovely scene between you and Caroline Quentin. I just want to talk to you about your relationship with Caroline, actually. This is just one of the many great gags there were in that show. This is one of my favourites. It's a lovely one.
Now then, what I'm going to do now is gently lift you onto the bed. Now, you might experience a slight twinge.
Quentin was laughing there, wasn't she?
Absolutely. Well, I don't like to grass her on the telly, Michael, but yes, she was.
You do a lot of that corpsing.
I guess there wasn't a take when she wasn't laughing, or they'd have used it. But yeah, she was. There was a lot of laughing, an awful lot. Yeah, and a lot of it got broadcast as well. Where you try and build it into your performance. Quite badly.
Now you turned it down. Talking about this sort of mission for fun that you have in life, you turned down Tomb Raider.
Yes.
Why?
Well, there was one day that clashed with my wedding anniversary, so it was a night shoot. And we were
that's
I
lovely.
know, what a prat. It was such a good read, the script. It was a really good... Yeah, I thought so. It was fantastic.
The thought of playing alongside Miss Jolie?
Miss Jolie, yeah. But there's, to be honest, I thought they might shift their dates a bit, because you've got work jerks you around all the time. So if some things have to be set in stone. So I think wedding anniversaries and holidays and things like that.
So you build everything around that. That's the priority now, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
And it should serve your life, shouldn't it? Work rather than the other way around.
Well, it's a lesson that you learn sometimes later on in life. It's something when you're older than you are.
Yeah, maybe. It's
a very mature judgment for you to be making at this point. Well, you're a young man.
I'm 40.
It's
quite old. Middle-aged,
Quite old.
Nearly.
Hey, tell it.
Yeah.
Middle-aged.
40.
God.
I mean, what were you like at 40?
You're a boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was I doing at 40?
Yes, what were you like?
Shaving my legs. Made me think I was sleeping with a woman. It was lovely. Yeah.
We met, didn't we? I was dressed as a woman the last time we met.
Doing what?
In Whiteley Shopping Centre. And I thought, I'm sure that's Martin Clunes, but it can't be because he's dressed as a woman.
Yeah.
And
what were you
he had a
doing as a
miniskirt on and sort of high heels and a wig, didn't you?
Yeah.
Bet it was attractive, wasn't it?
Oh,
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I look fantastic. I got 3 months.
What were you doing?
I was doing a corporate thing for a building society. I played 13 different people, and for quite a few women.
It's very pretty, though.
Thanks very much.
All right, let's talk about what's coming up for you as well, because you've got one or two very interesting projects, haven't you? You've got coming up. You're doing.
Oh, Mr. Chips.
Mr.
I'm going to
Chips.
play Mr. Chips. Yeah.
I mean, that's a wonderful role
It's
to play.
fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. Just as soon as I can get through reading it without crying, I'll get there. It's a fantastic story. Yeah. Yeah.
That's been made into a film, what, twice? Robert Donat, first of all.
Yeah, Robert Donat, then Peter O'Toole, then there was a television series,
Yes.
and this is just going to be a one-off television film for ITV.
Right. And Buffalo Pictures, your own production company.
That's me and my wife's company, yeah.
Yeah, now you had a most wonderful time, again, given your allegiance to your family, taking your family with you on a shoot, didn't you?
Yeah, we all went down to Cornwall. Philippa produced them. We did 2 films for Sky Telly and did them back to back. And I don't know if you remember, last summer was just fantastic. Well, it was in Cornwall anyway, and we had about 5 weeks of unbroken sunshine. Emily was on the beach with the dog every single day. It was just heaven. So desperate to get back down there and do more of those.
Now, what about your daughter? She reads as a bit of a character when one reads the research.
Really? She makes me laugh. Yeah.
Does she?
Yeah, a lot.
What makes you laugh?
Oh, I don't know. She's just started at nursery, and we're so pathetic. We dropped her off. We left her satchel down in Dorset, so we just had a plastic bag for some spare pants and things. So I gave them to... She'd scuttled off like that. I gave them to... She said, oh, I'll put them on her peg. We both went outside. She's got her own peg!
You wait till she goes to school.
Oh, don't know.
I just blubbered and
That's a
loved
real
it.
moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just see the little backside wobbling down
But
the
also,
thing.
they're the thing that's real in this business. It's like, at the end of the day, whatever's happened at work, you just come home and that's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Would you send her to boarding school?
Never, no.
Of course you
No,
wouldn't.
no. I'm going to lie to her. I'm not going to tell her that there are schools, or boys, or London. There's just dogs.
Oh, and what about, I mean, this is the other thing. I mean, I had 3 boys, but Jimmy had 2 girls. I would ask him as well. I mean, that moment that comes again to every father, where they bring home a chap, eh?
Who are you? Oh, bugger off. Yeah. You get in. She said, Dad, I'm 32. Never mind how old you are. Get out of here.
Yeah, it must be a defining moment in your life.
Yeah. Dads and daughters.
Do you think it might be sort of stern and strict, or what?
I imagine I'll be intolerable.
You think so?
Yeah, terrible dual standards.
And what about stage? I mean, having just done Tartuffe, I mean, would you feel... Are you not going to wait another 12 years, before you go back on stage?
Oh, I don't know.
I
I don't know, maybe. I've got it out of my system for a bit. Maybe when Emily's a bit older. I did miss bath time and bedtime and stuff.
You did?
It's a nice job if you could do it in the day.
And there was a story recently about men behaving badly coming back. Do you know anything about that?
I didn't when it first broke, but I do now. There has been some talk.
Has there?
Yes.
And wouldn't that be greeted with unanimous joy on the talks?
I'd be very... I mean, not to do another series. I think we're all a bit older. It'd be a bit seedy.
Yes.
But, of course, at the end of the last one, there was a baby. So, and I think Simon Nye is a serial parent, the writer. So there's a lot of stuff there. It depends on the others. I've said yes, so I don't want to put any pressure on them. But my daughter, those little shoes are expensive.
OK, we're all for it because it's marvellous series. Martin Clunes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Martin Clunes. My thanks then to Martin Clunes, to Jimmy Tarbuck, Michelle Collins, Travis and Enrique Iglesias. There's no Parkinson next week. We return in 2 weeks' time with our final show of the present series. And the guests are Ben Elton, Brian May and Roger Taylor of Queen, the naturalist Charlotte Uhlenbrook and Barry Manilow. Until then, from all of us here, a very good night. Good night.
The big stars before they were famous, next tonight on BBC One, and then BBC Two's on tour with Westlife at 11 o'clock.